Welcome back, everyone. I'm back. I'm here, we're live, and we're just chilling out today. We're just taking it easy. We're going to chill out before I head on over and get Nacy and Jimmy Jeans for today's Prince tribute. Yes, it's been 5 years already. Can you believe that? 5 years since the artist formerly known as something. I don't know what he was called in the end. But 5 years already. Time sure does fly, yeah? Just the other day, we were looking at the Game of Thrones. 10 years. 10 years ago since that series, that epic, started. Maybe it's just part of getting old, but I tell you, time is flying. I see Rick Anderson in the chat room. Good day to you, sir. John, what shenanigans are we getting into? Nothing really planned, dude. Got a crazy photo I found today that's well worth looking at, but it's just chilling out. It's just to get back in the saddle because I've had a couple of days off. So if you guys have got like paint to dry, you know, maybe watch the turning of the pages of a book. I don't know if you've got anything more productive to do. Hey, have at it, because there's going to be nothing happening here. In fact, it may even get removed after the stream. Who knows? Because it's just chilling out. Purple rain. Yep, that's what we're getting tonight. Purple rain under the purple rain. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this here. This will give you a little idea. There you go. Rain and rain. There's rain and then there's rain. Right? So yes, we're over here in Studio B today. It's actually Studio A when you think about it. It's usually where the members come to. But we're in here today. We're looking good. Got the chat up there. All tickety-boo. We're thinking about, or we're thinking about, did I just refer to me and Dave as we? And we were talking over in Disco today with Wookie, Comet was there, Comet Man, ZX. And of course, Wookie and I are very, very avid fans of After Effects, as you can tell, all the flashing lights and things. And I think I'm going to start a new KBS channel. I'm just going to do like maybe 20, 30-second loops of video that I create. And you can download, you can use them as you like. I might even upload like 10-hour long, big, massive loops of nice graphics, some sensual ambient backgrounds. Listen, it's what I like to do. It's my artsy stuff I like to do away from the show. So maybe I should just put it onto a separate YouTube channel. Keep your eyes open for that one. And it'll be strictly for just graphics. Maybe the odd tutorial, how to use Photoshop. That's one of the ones I'm better at. A lot of people have been asking me recently about Streamlabs. I think it might be worth just even sitting one day and we'll take a look at how I do what I do. So in that way, you know, you can go and take up the mantle, take up the challenge yourself. What is it they say? You give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if you can teach a man to fish, you see, I like the idea of creating other little channels around this channel here, other ones popping up and disappearing along the way. I mean, look at the likes of Algorithm, his channel. It's growing nicely. He's doing really well. We've got Cyber. Is it Cyberfunk? Or Cinemonk? Cinemonk, another of the viewers here who's taken to streaming. So yeah, there's lots of things I can do to help you get a leg up and get streaming as well. It's not as hard as it looks. If I can do it, trust me, if I can do it, even the most unintelligent animal you can think of, anything, even an inanimate object possibly could do what I do. Okay. And there's Jimmy Jeans sneaking in there. Sneaking into the chat room. Yes, indeed. And Wanda, yes, that's a very royal colour, is purple. And I'm sure that's going to come up in today's conversation as well. And yesterday's conversation, now let me just go and check here. But we done an amazing show yesterday with our good friend, sister, the Nano Girl. And I've put together a little part of that show and uploaded it over onto KBS, the other channel. The channel that we tend to upload clips to. It includes the claps of the mainstream media and that really, really cool reptilian royal reincarnation theory that Nano Girl got into. If you didn't hear that, that alone is worth going and checking out. It's not live yet. I've not set it to live, I wouldn't do that if I'm going live myself, right? I mean, that would take you away from listening to yours truly. But it's also got a segment on robot rights. Yes, indeed. So Jimmy Jean's been a man that's into the robots. You just remember, Jimmy, when you go and buy that new good looking doll, it's got rights as well. Okay, boy, I'm telling you, we're keeping an eye on you. Keeping an eye on you, Jimmy. Yes, indeed, Jimmy. Those as well. Definitely, those come into the conversation from time to time. So who else we got in there? We got ZX. Who listen? ZX was sharing today, and I hope he doesn't mind, but he's not a big Prince fan. And listen, because I'm doing the show tonight, I don't want people thinking that I was somebody that followed and idolized Prince or any pop star. Kind of a bit weird, really. People always ask, what kind of music you into, Kev? I can listen to anything, right? Anything. Some stuff I like, some stuff I just can't stand. But I've never felt the compulsion to. You see, when a new big hit single comes along and it's some new band or some new singer, I've never been the guy that takes it beyond the music, the single, the song, the album, whatever it is. I've never felt that compulsion to find out where they went to school and what might have inspired them to write these songs as youngsters. You know, what they throw out in their garbage, what time they get up in the morning. You see how some people really like get into that whole pop star thing and they just, I think when I was growing up, one artist almost had that effect on me. Almost had that effect, but I want you to bear in mind, I was a hormonal, or just coming into being a hormonal young adolescent. Come on, can you guess who it was? Can you guess who got me? Who was it? Come on, we'll play a guessing game, right? Young Kev, listening to music, big song at the time. Who was it that caught the eye of Kev? Come on, can you guess it? Let's see if the audience can guess it. If you can't guess it, fair enough, but we'll give it a second for the stream to catch up. Bit of background music so you can guess it. John says Prince was an interesting, smart person. He was bigger than his corporate persona. See, this is what I'm going to enjoy finding out tonight, because we've spoke before about Prince on the show. I know Nacy, he's really into the Prince. Jimmy, he's into his music as well. So I'm going to be in Dave, Kev listening mode tonight. So who do you think it was that really had an effect on me? Who was it that caught the eye of Kev? Remember, I'm very toxic, and I've been toxic from probably the moment this person caught my eye. Oh, no. No, you're going the wrong gender altogether, Lewis. You're going the wrong gender. It was never going to be a man that got me inspired in music, was it? Nah. Just saying. Come on, any more guesses? Any more? Jocelyn, this isn't even a show. I get embarrassed. I cringe if I was to call this a show. This is just me chilling out with a coffee. Culture Club? Oh. Now, wasn't a big fan of Culture Club. Julian. Lessons for Life is Julian, if you hadn't guessed. No, wasn't a big Culture Club dude. No, Aussie. Hey, Lewis has got it. He's coming in like a virgin. Yep, it was her. It was her, folks. Madonna got me. Madonna got me, and from that point forward, it was downhill from there, right? But even then, I think I'd maybe 2 posters of a very, very, very scantily clad, young, good-looking Madonna. And then I got kind of pissed because she went and got married to Sean Penn. You see, that kind of shows you the kind of age I'm talking about. You're a young dude. But no, definitely Madonna. Now, came over the years, don't have that same admiration for her music. In fact, at times, I find her very strange and weird. But that's about it. So that was a really long way of saying that. I've never really been a big music guy. Never taken it beyond the song, the track, the album. I know, Crystal, I know. At least I'm honest. Pink Floyd, they've always been there, and they say, oh, Pink Floyd, big time, dude. Big time. Yeah. What else is the chat saying? My taste in music is horrible, but it's perfect for me. John, that's exactly it, right? Everyone's got their own taste in music. One guy's absolutely life-changing song is another guy's sounds like nails down a chalkboard. It's part of that individual experience that we all have, right? That's why I don't read reviews of movies or books. because everyone's going to get something uniquely different out of it. Because we've all had our own life experiences leading up to the point where we read something, or we watch something, or we hear something. And all of that kind of environmental factors, all of the programming that already exists in our own quantum computers, all of that. And with our eyes giving us a unique window into the world, be it real or simulated or whatever the hell it is, we'll see things and hear things differently. That's what makes it so great. So cool around here. So I've got my coffee. We're just chilling out. I've got a crazy photo we're going to look at in just a moment, but it's really chilled here. Not dragging you in under any false pretenses that I've got some earth-changing story up my sleeve. In fact, I've got short sleeves on today. I wouldn't have very far to hide it, right? So, there we go. Sid, I'm sure everyone will join me in sending positive vibes, prayers, intent, everything, anything you need out to your grandma. Sorry to hear that, Sidvich. Dang, dude. And Polly says, music is not a toy, but it's meant to be played. Oh, I like that. That should be on like a fortune cookie somewhere, shouldn't it? A t-shirt. We need to get a t-shirt with that on. Woo is not a toy, but it's definitely to be played with. Yes, indeed. So we're going to take a look at this crazy photo that I found. A crazy one altogether, ladies and gents. Really, really crazy. Wait till I get this looking good. Now, okay, so if I come over here, what we're about to look at is a couple of skeletons. And on first inspection, you're going to think, well, nothing to see here, Kev. Nothing to see here. And I totally agree with you, but that's because I've totally zoomed in. And if I start to scroll down, we'll start to see there's a obvious problem going on here, right? Very good, very good, very good. Oh, but what's this? Wait, what? Is this another skull? Another being? Wait, what? Okay, so it's not just two skeletons in here. It's 3. So that, by my reckoning, makes this big boy in the middle rather intriguing, don't you think? Don't you think? I think so. We talk about giants a lot here on the show. We're going to take a look at what this is, where it is, and then I'm going to find out what you think about it. But I think this here, it's intriguing at first glance, isn't it? So what on earth's name am I on about? Well, we come over here, Mysterious Universe. The Bizarre Mutter Museum and its mysterious giant skeleton. So this is Philadelphia, folks. There's the Mutter Museum there, and you can see down here, you can see the beginnings of what I was showing you. And we come down, and there's the photograph in the actual article. So we'll read a little bit of this. We'll see what's going on. Very interesting. So it says, located in the center city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Mutter Museum is without a doubt one of the creepiest and macabre museums out there. Part of the College of Physicians in Philadelphia, it has been displaying a large number of medical oddities, anomalies, and grotesqueries. Weird specimens, wax models, and all manner of bizarre medical equipment and tools, as well as a large collection of books called the Historical Medical Library, since the collection first began in 1858 with a donation from Dr. Doolittle. Well, it wasn't Dr. Doolittle. It was Dr. Thomas Dent Mutter. There are over 20,000 individual objects available for display. Now, we're not interested in that because we're really interested in this big skeleton thing. So the museum boasts over 3,000 osteological specimens, including skeletons and skulls. 1,500 wet specimens covering just about every part of the body and every type of cyst or tumour and various others. which really run the range between odd and downright disturbing. It's like these people, my mother being one of them, she probably isn't tuned into this, so I feel confident in sharing this without getting a slap later on. What is it with people that like to watch things like Dr. Pimple Popper? Like, what's that all about? I mean, look, hey, I watch some freaky deaky weird stuff, but there's this like thing where people, and there must be a market for it if there's a TV show for it, right? I mean, it's like the doctor's a real cutie, but even me in my toxic ways, I can't. The cuteness does not outweigh the grotesqueness of people getting things lanced on their body. And sometimes the most disturbing of gunk and skunky, horrible looking things crawling out of it. And yet people sit there watching it through the cracks in their fingers. What does that say about these people, ladies and gentlemen? I feel I'm hearing a few people out there saying, oh shit, I watch those types of programs. Hey, listen, that's your thing, but I don't know. Maybe this museum is the place for you, right? So we'll come down here. It says one of the most mysterious exhibitions in the museum can be seen in the skeleton exhibit. Here, among the skeletons of dwarves, deformed freaks. Now, I didn't call anybody a freak because at 5 foot, 5'5" I'm pretty freaky myself, right? So it says other conditions. Excuse me, is a towering specimen that is called the American Giant. That's what we were looking at there, folks. That's the American Giant. So it's strategically positioned between a normal-sized human skeleton and that of a dwarf. So if we come back here, we can see that they're playing with us a little, right? They're playing with us a little. But now that you know that's a dwarf, you absolutely see it as a dwarf, don't you? It looks like little Tyrion Lannister. Remember Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones? I'll dig up Tyrion Lannister right now. Hang on, give me 2 seconds here, folks. I'll get you covered. Get you covered now. Some people say that I look a bit like Tyrion Lannister, and I'm not happy with it. I hope you don't see it. I hope you don't see that resemblance when I pull this up here, troops. I really hope. Now, some people say I look like that wee guy right there. Now, it's a vicious rumour. A vicious rumour. And it's definitely not one of my relatives that they've got in this cask here. However, definitely a dwarf, right? But we've still got the American Giant, so how big does that make him? How big does it make him? Well, it makes him. Are you ready? The skeleton itself is the tallest skeleton put on display in North America, coming from an individual who is estimated as having been about 7 feet and 6 inches tall. Wah, 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 wah. You see, what is the definition of giant? Because there's people playing basketball today that are that size, right? And when you put them in a case in here with somebody that optically makes it look far bigger than it is, you see, but is it really 7 feet 6 inches? Or could it be taller? Could it? Let me dig up another photograph for you before we go back to this story, before I forget. Let me see here. I need to remember which ones it is. Is it in here? Yeah, there it is there. Put this in here. This is the skeleton that I seen up in Scotland, up in the north of Scotland, north of Inverness. Can't remember the name of the site, but they're still excavating it now. And it's a Pictish site. And it looks weird, that photograph, right? And that's because it is weird, because you're stood up on one level, and then this thing is like right down in like a dungeon. There's a big drop between where you stand. You literally walk over the top of it, and where you would drop down into, right? And you can still tell that's a big skeleton. And when we asked how big is it, we just got told it was big. It was tall. Pretty vague, right? Pretty vague. Do I think there's been giants? Yes, indeed. At 7'6" tall in America, does that make you a giant? I don't know. But it says here, although since the spine has an abnormal curvature, the actual height would have been even taller if it was straightened out. So it's an impressive specimen indeed, but even more so in the story of its arrival in the museum's collection. and its actual identity are shrouded in mystery. So it takes a twist. It gets a bit more interesting, right? In 1877, a Professor A. E. Foote, an After Effects Foote, is that one that emerges out of smoke? Forgive me. Approached the museum on foot, claiming that he had found a giant for sale in Kentucky, something which piqued the interest of Professor Joseph Leidy, who wanted to purchase it for the museum's collection. Oddly, Mr. Foote made the stipulation that in order for the sale to go through, there could be no questions asked about where the skeleton had come from or how it had come to be for sale in the first place. Oh boy. This all seemed pretty shady and indicated that the skeleton had probably been procured in less than savoury ways, but Lady wanted it. He needed it. He had to have it. And so he agreed and pushed ahead with the purchase. Now, listen, let me tell you, folks. However anyone comes into possession... Oh, wrong one. However anyone... That looks quite cool, though, eh? Look, pretty cool. Look, the heat map on there. Pretty cool. Get some tunes on with that. No? Listen, however this dude or anyone comes into possession of, say, let's say you've got a 9-footer. Let's go Speculation Island. We've got a 12-foot, almost a 12-foot dinosaur. 12-foot giant, okay? 12-foot dinosaur wouldn't really be that impressive, would it? Probably would have been prey back in that time. I digress, okay, I digress. So you've got this skeleton. And you're thinking, well, how do I show the world? Well, the first thing you've got to appreciate is that there's going to be people out there that are going to be determined that the world doesn't find out that there was 12-foot tall things on the planet at some point. I say things because were they really human? Hey, I'm throwing it out there. So there, one, straight off the bat, you want to remain anonymous in this situation, right? You don't want to just run to YouTube with this, because if that happens, there's a good chance that video will disappear after about 50 views, and then so will you. Yes, the van from the Smithsonian will come along, and they'll disappear you and any trace of a giant skeleton that you may have left lying around. Bear in mind, folks. So it doesn't strike me as being shenanigans over the top or something dodgy going on. Just because somebody says, look, don't ask questions, take it. If you're wanting it, take it, show it, do what you want. I'm with this guy. He's doing it right, if there is a right way to do it. It says here, and so the American giant arrived at the Mutter Museum to wow and amaze people all the way up to present. But there is relatively little known about who it actually was. It's as though that individual was male, or it is thought that individual was male and perhaps between 22 to 24 years old at the time of passing. And he had probably lived in Kentucky. And there is evidence he had acromegaly, which is abnormal growth of hands, feet, and facial features, as well as signs that had been bedridden for some time before death. And that is about it. No one really knows more about it than that. But there has been so much discussion to this day as to who the massive skeleton belonged to. So now we're being told that this thing had big eyes, big hands, big feet. You know what they say about big feet? Big shoes. Big hands, big gloves. Read into that anything you want. So one idea that's been proposed is that there are the remains of a man named James Toller of Huntington, England. Now also called, now that's weird, right? Because there's a thing called Huntington's disease. But I don't think it gives you big hands and big feet. Maybe it does, who knows? Also called the Ennisbury Giant. Toller stood 8 feet, 1.5 inches high. And he passed at the age of 23. Because that puts a lot of strain on the human form, folks. With gravity the way it is and the planet the way it is. But maybe not so much back in a day when the planet was different, right? The story goes that he was buried under a church, and that when the church was renovated in the 1870s, somebody may have stolen the body and whisked it off to the States to sell it. At the time, Grave robbing was pretty big business. A different world back then, eh? A different world. The simulation was way different, but a simulation all the same. With corpses often dug up and sold in medical institutions on a no questions asked basis. So it's quite possible. And the problem is that Toller was much taller. Toller was taller. Surely this has to be some kind of joke. A tall guy called Toller was taller than the American giant. Was he the English American giant? Even when adjusting for the spinal curvature. So who else could it have been? Oh boy, here we go. Another idea is that it could have been a man named John M. Baker. So wait, what? What? Who? What? Hang on. I said I didn't have any relatives in this casket, didn't I? And if I had to have chosen one, I would have said, okay, probably I'm a descendant from the wee guy. But now we're finding out the big man. The big man here's a baker. Makes you wonder what size Dave is, doesn't it? Oh, maybe not, probably just me, but hey, listen, let's go with it. He's from Caldwell County, Kentucky, and he passed in 1861 in his early 20s. Fellow baker. The fact that he was a local of the same state where the skeleton was up for sale bolsters this case, as does his height, estimated to have been around, oh boy, 7 feet 8 inches tall. Again, it's thought that the grave robbers might have dug the body up to sell it, and considering location and the similarities in height, Baker seems to be a good candidate. That's really disturbing. It's almost like reading about myself. It could have also been a supposed giant inmate at the East Bethany, Genesee County Poorhouse in New York State, who was simply called Roy. Big Roy. Everyone loved Big Roy. A great guy. If he had died while incarcerated, it does not seem to be beyond plausibility that nefarious parties would want to make a buck off his giant frame. The problem is, no one is sure just how tall Roy was. And it's been suggested that he may have passed long after the American, perhaps English giant skeleton came into the museum's possession. So to wrap this little story up, and I think it's pretty cool, the American, and stop laughing at Tyrion Lannister. I can hear you all out there laughing at that wee guy. Come on. Dang, he does look like me, doesn't he? Anyway, the American giant could also have been an unknown giant. Green giant, ho, ho, ho. It's probably just an ad that plays in the UK, right? Most people in America just looked at each other and went, what the hell's he on about? Ho, 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 green giant. Anyway, considerably how much of a rarity such height was at the time, and how much they stuck out, people of these sizes were typically well known and unlikely to be able to live completely anonymously off the grid. Unless they're interdimensional shapeshifters. I'm just throwing it out there. Never rule anything out. It should be a simple matter of cross-checking known giants who died within a specific time period. Yet over a century later, no one knows who in the world the American giant of the Mutter Museum was. Possibly, yeah, still could be. However, or whoever may have known, having long ago taken the secret to the grave with them. In the end, we've no way of knowing. And it is a strange mystery at an already strange place. Shawnee's shouting about sweet corn. Now all I can hear in my mind, right, is man corn. Jimmy Jeans. Even when I see like people eating sweet corn now, if I get sweet corn, because of that Jimmy Jeans, all I can hear is man corn. Ladies and gentlemen, man corn. Why? Because that's how Jimmy rolls. I'll be back in just a moment to finish my coffee, chill out with the chat. There's some giant shenanigans going down in Kentucky, right? And I think it was just the other day, there was a documentary on over here about caves in Kentucky and potentially big, huge skeletons. Terry's asking, a big shout out to Terry. Terry's saying we're the Pictish people big. I look at something like this here. You can also look at some of the stone monuments that they've left around. I suspect they were a very big people. You know, Clava Cairns, just next to Inverness. They say that's a burial ground for the Picts, right? Only one problem. No skeletons ever found there. That's blatantly a calendar site. And some of the stones on there, well, if they weren't lifting them by magical means or some technology we don't know, I think they were a big people. Big people. Big ginger people. Where have we heard that story before? Big Shawnee nailed it there. Shawnee says big units. I love that. I love that term for somebody that's kind of big and built. A big unit. I've known a couple of big units in my time that I know probably wouldn't have been classified as giants, but I wouldn't have messed with them either. Definitely not. Maybe it was something about me being a wee guy, but when I think back to when I was in the army, it was as if, and it wasn't intentional. I mean, one of my best mates in the army was called Porno. Can I even tell that story, how he got that nickname? We were in boot camp, basic training, square bashing as we call it over here, right? And they give you about a week of kind of just not being like overly nice to you, but I'm going back to the mid-90s now, right? And they would gradually get nastier and nastier, like after you turned up there, till it got to full-blown like basic training. But you didn't get a room inspection for, say, the first week or so, right? So it came time for the first room inspection. And by that time, we'd all got to know each other in the different rooms. You know, we're 4 different sections, like 4 different firing teams. And there was 8 of us. There was 8 of us. There was like 4, and then 2, and then 2 in the one kind of barrack room. And I remember, because it went like alphabetically, and his name was A. I'm not going to give his name away, but me being B. Baker, we were in the same bed space, you know. And it's the army. There's a lot of guys about, not many women, so there was a lot of magazines used to populate the halls of the barracks. You can imagine. But why we done it, I can't remember. But like the night before the big room inspection, we'd all got everything just the way we needed to be. Like we'd got all the bits of dust off, and you don't touch anything the night before a room inspection, right? But let's just say people had strategically placed magazines inside. At this point, the guy's name was just a normal name. I'm not going to give it away, but, you know, we'll just call him Blogs. It was inside Private Blogs' wardrobe. And then the next day, I'll never forget it for as long as I live. The guy's coming out and they're doing their inspection. And lo and behold, it gets to that locker. And it was as if they knew, because it was like the first place they went and they opened it and all these magazines fell out. And they declared from this point forward, you will be known as Porno. And that was it. That's how his nickname stuck. But apart from that, he was my size, but we were like tight, real tight. Then we got posted apart, and at that point, it was as if like subconsciously, I chose like big Neanderthal type, giant type friends. I think it was probably so that when we went out into the town, I didn't get too much of a baiting if we were like into a fight. I don't know what it was, but it was like little and large. Always a little and large. And Big Fred, big shout out to Fred. He'll probably never see this, but oh, the shenanigans me and him got up to. And that was definitely a case of little and large. So listen, Jimmy's just said, I am the slime of your video. I've got no idea what it's all about. See, you're going to be my nighttime. We'll fall asleep on disco. Yes, that's the best way to do it, dude. Sometimes I fall asleep to podcasts, live streams. It's nothing against the person who's on at the time. I think it's the state of mind we get into. And then sometimes you can get actually so engrossed in something, or you're just so worn out that before you know it, you've dropped off and you've missed the majority of something. But that's the beauty of it, right? Because we can always rewind. We can always go back. We can always find out just what it was that we have missed. Yes. City Monk, an absolute unit. An absolute unit, yep. Bernaise sauce, never running late. Never late. I have a suspicion that we always get to where we're meant to be right at the split second we're meant to be there. Why? Because that's the way it's played out, right? It's the way it's played out. Donnie's away to sleep. I've sent Donnie to sleep. Sleep, Donnie. Ah, sleep, Donnie. Sleep. Yeah. Getting ready for my ASMR career. Yeah. What else we got going on in there? Jeannie Winders, you know I'm related to the Queen of England. Check out my maiden name. A bit close to the Windsors, Wolf. That comes from Faith Parent. Hats off. Royalty in the chat today. Dang. What else we got in there? Sid falls asleep all the time. Sid, what's been happening in the world of Richard Dolan? I've got a couple to catch up with, man. A couple to catch up with. What else we got? Now go so I can get into bed. No, you've got about another 5 minutes left from me yet, dude. About another 5 minutes. There you go. What else is happening? Anything else in the chat room? ZX, my friend. ZX, how you doing? Let's see. Quite liking it in here, but I'm going to pimp out as a new stream background. I've had enough of this, so it's time for a change. I think I'm actually going to put myself in Fox Mulder's office. How do you fancy that? Me behind the desk in Mulder's office. We'll have like a monitor on the wall for the websites and things that we look at. We'll have like crazy like UFOs swinging about, and I think I could pimp out. I'm going to pimp his like crib. I'm going to pimp Mulder's crib. Let's have a look, see a picture of Mulder's office. Let's see. And I know you haven't got it on the screen yet, folks. I know. Here we go. Where are we? I mean, let's see. See, like, you know, easy. All I need to do is pimp, like, make an office with that poster in the background. That's about it, right? Have shenanigans. Have like a traffic cone over here. Have a Wookiee up here. Probably a sleeping frog up on top of there somewhere. I can feel it all coming on now, folks. I can feel it coming on. It's coming on strong, yes, indeed. So look, thanks for coming and chilling out. And we had a look at the giant picture, which is, I don't know, pretty weird, right? Let me pull that back up again. No, not that mini me. And before people say, that doesn't really look like Tyrion Lannister, it's because it's photoshopped, ladies and gentlemen. It was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. But that is a classic. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, was it Popeye or Geo? It could even have been me. I don't know. It might have been Scotty Lopez, but that there's a classic. But if we come back to the giant, there he is. There he is. You start with a really wee guy, Tyrion Lannister, and you've got probably me. And then you got Big Baker, the big man, a big unit. Not many bakers get called big units, although my boy is a big unit. He's about 6'2" now. I would say about 6'2" and built like a brick. Yeah, he's a big boy. And I ain't talking fat, I'm talking big boy. You don't mess. So there you go. See, again, I kind of future-proofed myself. You know, when I start shrinking, which is going to be pretty soon, imagine if he shrank to the size of like a little guy in a jar. If like you could put me in the jar along with the brain, you could just pickle me like a little pickled man. That's a really disturbing thought, isn't it? Talking about your own pickling like that. But anyway, I'm in a bit of a pickle because I have to now go and shift gears, and I am warmed up and I am ready. Ready for what? I am ready for the purple rain under the purple rain. I ain't as good as Naysay at singing, so don't even think I'm going there. But that's going to be starting in just over 15 minutes, or just under 15 minutes, over on the home of the Kev Baker Show, Truth Frequency Radio. Now, check out Kev Baker Show 1, the main channel, the big channel, whatever you want to call it, because we've got about maybe half an hour's worth I've put together of the show we done with Nano Girl yesterday. If you want to hear the full show, you'll have to go over to TFR Live, but I put together some of the best bits from yesterday's show because we've not been putting up lots of nanos in recent times, and that really irks me. So that's on me, and now I've been putting together bits that are definitely good to go. We've uploaded it over there. But like I say, if you ever want to hear me uncut, unleashed, and all of my guests talking about anything and everything, away from censorship, away from algorithms, away from all that, you must try and listen live, or get to tfrlive.com, TalkStream Live of a TFR link, Paranormal Radio app, they also host the network. Any way you can, try and hear us live, because sometimes it's completely different than what you get on here. Thursday night will be no exception to that, because on Thursday night we're going to be talking about a tissue we all got played. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me bid you all farewell. Adieu. Until next time, which is 14 minutes away. Can you wait 14 minutes to get Jimmy, Nacy, Kevin, Dave? Well, sorry, you just need to. But before we go anywhere, you ready? You ready? Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Yep, don't forget, check out Jimmy's channel. He says he's going to be live on there later as well.